Vigilance and again vigilance. This is the message to Cameroonians from the country's top health and national security chiefs. There is a second wave of coronavirus infections looming, and it is the collective responsibility to ensure that the situation does not spiral out of control.
Though we can rightly hail the measures taken and the actions undertaken by Cameroon, the fact remains that the vigilance of each and every one of us remains a necessity and a requirement, if not a collective duty and obligation. Indeed, an assessment of the situation in recent times reveals a resurgence of the pandemic and therefore an expansion of the contamination throughout the national territory.
At the level of health officials, crisis meetings have been multiplied, sensitization strategies and campaigns taken to community leaders, mass testing recommended, and risk perception and management actions undertaken. National security, it was stressed, is everybody's affair.
Le danger n'est plus surtout venant de l'étranger.
The danger is not only from abroad. We must go back to total self-discipline. If this is not done, then efforts taken will be in vain. There cannot be a policeman assigned to each person to guarantee respect of measures. All inhabitants must know what the nation expects from them.
Inhabitants have been told it is not time to be reckless, nonchalant and indifferent. With emergency situations calling for urgent intervention, the ball is now in everybody's court to check the spread of the coronavirus in Cameroon.
To many an observer, the Joint Conference hammering on the relax of COVID-19 barrier measures is no surprise. The figures presented are associated to corresponding public behavior and the belief of the non-existence of the virus by some citizens. Mukwele Princewell Aduma presents the situation and the urgency in the following analysis.
COVID-19 in a ravaging twist, and government's note of warning in this joint press conference is to quote the Minister of Communication, René Emmanuel Sade, a reminder to Cameroonians of the consequences of a relapse on the respect of barrier measures taken last year March. To doubting Thomases, the figures appear scaring, from 25,738 confirmed cases by 23rd December 2020, 35,714 cases have been confirmed by the 25th of February 2021, a period of 2 months that registers 9,976 increase, with a frightening number of deaths. That the Minister of Public Health attributes this to nonchalance is evident in the continuous organization of funerals and marriages in regions like the Northwest, where cases go up to 400 in a recent count. The Adamawa, which had 1 or 2 cases, now counts 100 and more. Equally, the hesitation to go for testing and refusal to undergo treatment leads to an increase in crowds in health centers, while the Delegate General for National Security promises to step up vigilance at the borders where passengers are rumored to negotiate their movements. The Minister of Communication, like that of Public Health, call on a dispassionate respect of barrier measures. Anything short of that obliges government to book for vaccines to save lives.
And the possibility of introducing the Russian anti-COVID-19 vaccine in the Cameroonian health system is being reviewed at the diplomatic level. Russian ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Anatoly Bashkin, and External Relations Minister Mbela Mbela explored the likelihood of using the booster injection at an audience today in Yaoundé. Listen to the Russian diplomat proffer the project.
We discussed the possibility to find an access to Yaoundé, to Cameroon, to Russian vaccine Sputnik. We are supplying this vaccine now 25 different countries, and Cameroon expressed their wish to have this vaccine, Russian vaccine Sputnik, and we discussed with the minister the best way to get this vaccine, because it's a huge demand in the world.
And now on to one of our top stories. The accomplishments of the Cameroonian women are being celebrated as the 36th International Women's Day kicks off in Puma in Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral region. This year, reflections will center on women leadership achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. Minister Marie-Therese Benandua presided over the launch and donated farm inputs to the rural women in the area. Alice Mbey has the details.
Launching the activities to mark the 36th edition of the International Women's Day, Minister Marie-Therese Benandua visited the Puma nursery where plantains and cocoa seedlings are being nurtured by women. She equally visited the Puma Center for the Promotion of the Woman and the Family, where women are trained on diverse activities such as tailoring, hairdressing, and soap making.
Coronavirus is with us. We made it compulsory for everyone to wear a face mask. Getting back to the habit of washing hands, avoiding crowds, and really spreading the message that coronavirus is not somebody else's thing, it is with us. I visited some structures of women who are in cocoa culture and cocoa culture of banana. It made it possible for us to know that women are involved in banana cultivation in this area.
During the launch at the ceremonial ground, farm inputs and tools were donated to the rural women.
We thank Madame very much for the gift she has given us.
She hailed the efforts of the women and urged more women to involve in agricultural activities in Puma.
As the need for gender equality is highlighted during activities marking Women's Day celebrations, emancipation and empowerment are depicted. Many are those who thrive in petty trading, manicure and even funeral parlors, hitherto considered a man's world. Raihanatu Salina profiles 3 women engaged in 3 different businesses.
She's a woman excelling in a business in which most men will not dare venture. Selling luxury coffins, organizing funerals and all that comes with it is how a tense Clarisse Jupong earns her living.
I chose to open a funeral parlor in order to offer clients quality services.
In almost 3 decades, she's been able to build an empire for herself in a world where women are gradually grabbing the bull by the horns.
To become a successful woman, one must invest in different domains. For example, I started with a restaurant.
On the other side of town, Agbo Janet is braving the harsh weather to put food on her table. She's into money transfer.
First, I was doing call box, but the business income was a little bit slow. So I decided to add around money and MTN so that I can cope. I'm maybe making my cafeteria.
Selena Somo has banked on what women crave for, beauty. With her nail salon, she earns a decent life. Though they come from different social strata, these women have one thing in common: fighting for the emancipation of the woman folk.
In our human interest investigation tonight, hardly does a week go by without posters of missing children going viral on social media. Parents and guardians are increasingly getting worried about the phenomenon, which security forces partly attribute to delinquency that exposes the children to kidnappers. In our running series tonight, Cynthia Saptala looks at the magnitude of the problem.
Putting up images like these online is most probably the worst nightmare for any parent. On Facebook, for example, the number of wanted posters of missing children seem to indicate a growing phenomenon, one which some city dwellers insist is a cause for concern.
I know a child that is missing. The child goes to a school just 50 meters from our home. Since Tuesday that the child went to school, we haven't seen her. It's about 2 weeks now. She is 6 years old. We have posted pictures, visited hospitals, and even gone to the police station at the Kundum. She speaks good French and English, and her name is Anahel.
But according to competent sources, not all images are cases of abduction. Most are runaway kids, and some were simply lost. 11-year-old Jean-Jacques, found at the Bastos police station, is one example of a runaway kid who was found last Friday night at Longkak in search of an aunt's residence. According to elements of the police, there are more cases like these of abused children running away for those parents searching for their children. Often, they also make announcements at the national radio station. Out of 5 of such announcements, 3 children are found. But what about the remaining 2?
Today, March 1, is World Civil Defense Day, which symbolizes the honor, prestige and significance of civil protection. With emphasis laid on civil defense and the first aider in every home, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, outlined the essence of promoting a safety culture. In an exclusive interview with Kilian Dandifon, the minister reviews government's response to catastrophes. Take a listen.
The factor of education and sensitization is very, very important. And we have to create awareness for people to understand that the International Day of Civil Protection is for people to understand the dangers and the uncertainties which are around us, for us to prevent as much as possible these natural disasters and manage them so that we should save lives and limit the damages. And the casualties is very important, because when the response is adequate and efficient, we limit the casualties. The ideology about civil protection is we have to risk our lives to save the lives of others. It is understood. And I think that in this architecture, President Paul Biya is a living example, because whenever there is a catastrophe, a disaster, even at midnight, he informs the government that take immediate measures to save lives.
Still in relation to civil protection, the International Civil Defense Organization has promised to assist Cameroon with equipment to face natural disasters like floods. The pledge was made by the Secretary General of the organization, Cameroonian-born Mariatou Yab, during an audience granted her today by the Minister of External Relations, Mbila. Charles Ebune has the details.
Today is World Civil Defense Day, and it is on this day that the pioneer female Secretary General of the International Organization for Civil Protection, Cameroonian-born Mariatou Yab, is granted audience by External Relations Minister Mbila.
We seize this opportunity of the celebration to come here in Cameroon to talk about some project that we want to implement in Cameroon.
It is her first foreign international trip ever since she became the Secretary General of the organization.
Like floods, landslide, accident, fires, and so on and so forth. That's why we are here today.
The International Civil Defense Organization is one of the institutions in the world helping governments to better face natural disasters.
In education, the list of 549 doctorate degree holders due recruitment as lecturers, counting for the second phase of the special recruitment for the 2020 financial year, is highly awaited. The unclear situation of some state employees who are equally PhD holders and seeking the position is yet to be addressed. Ewane Epole probes into the measures taken by government to provide lucidity.
President Paul Biya launched the recruitment of 2,000 university lecturers on November 13, 2018. After a first wave of 1,237 recruits in 2019, a total of 549 doctorate degree holders were expected to be recruited into the 8 state universities in 2020. But to date, the list of new recruits is yet to be published, as the situation of civil servants holders of PhD seeking for a change of status by also being recruited is still unclear.
Only to take into consideration the workers from the medical sectors, excluding all the other workers. This is the source of the problem.
We are not asking for recruitment. We are asking the moving from the secondary education to the higher education.
After Friday's meeting with the Chief of Cabinet in the Prime Minister's office, the Civil Servants Union of PhD holders have decided to suspend their strike action.
Suite aux nombreuses promesses
Government has decided to take measures to resolve our problem, so we are pleading for something to be done.
This special recruitment open to PhD holding lecturers resident in Cameroon and abroad is expected to run off this year.
And on to this good news, the performance and attendance in 3 divisions of the Far North region affected by the Boko Haram insurgency has stepped up immensely for pupils. This is thanks to the assistance of the World Food Programme with its free meals offered to pupils. During the Africa Day of School feeding in Mokolo, it was revealed that pupil attendance has doubled. Henry Tato Ekami tells us more.
Surveys indicate that the Far North, that has one of the highest rate of malnutrition in the nation, has also seen its children's education take a nosedive because of the ill. This is what the World Food Programme WFP has been combating by offering free meals to tens of thousands of pupils in 3 divisions in the region through their school canteen program.
This year, there is a focus on using traditional knowledge and food to fight malnutrition.
The day, which was commemorated at Government Primary School Sirak Gorai in the Mokolo subdivision, featured poems, dances and other demonstrations from the children who have experienced visible changes thanks to the program.
Since the World Food Programme started giving food 3 years ago, attendance has jumped from 300 to 758. The success rate has moved from 49% to 83%.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the food distributed in school canteens already prepared were now offered raw to parents, just as it has been the case since the pandemic arrived.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Masking up, physical distancing and elbow bumping in place of handshaking are being neglected by most Cameroonians nowadays. This accounts for the rapid spread of the coronavirus that is claiming more and more lives in our communities. Baldwin Sama is at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center with his guest, Dr. Joseph Fokam, for the recent developments. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening. It becomes disturbing to notice that more and more Cameroonians have stopped respecting outlined barrier measures to limit the spread of COVID-19 in Cameroon. Do we still have to speculate about the existence of this virus? Let me find out from Dr. Joseph Fokam. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Bali.
Do we still have to speculate about the existence or not of the coronavirus?
No. There is no speculation. There is no more need to have any speculation on this burden. Instead, there is a major concern nowadays on the more and more new cases of coronavirus we are seeing. Not just the new cases, because as compared to less than 3,000 cases we were seeing monthly, but now we have in average 4,000 cases during this past month of February. So we are really getting worried. And not just we have more positive cases, but we also realize during the previous months we had just about 10 cases of mortality linked to COVID-19. Now we are having 50 cases a month. So the situation is really worrisome, and we really want everybody to wake up from their dreams, and make sure you should really implement these barrier measures, because otherwise you may be the next person.
Thank you so much for those reminders. We must continue respecting the different barrier measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus in Cameroon. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Baldwin Sama. 50 deaths in a month is exorbitant, and we all must remain vigilant. Now on to other news. The Pan-African Council of Traditional Rulers and the African Institute of Computer Sciences have signed a memorandum of understanding. The resident representative of AIA Cameroon, Armand-Claude Abanda, and the head of the council, His Royal Highness Octave Kosi Udegbe of Benin, appended their signatures on the documents in Maroua. This paves the way for the training of its members by the council. Details with Ayuk Jong Ashu.
As a linchpin between their subjects and the administration, traditional rulers play a vital role in the implementation of effective decentralization, especially as they are represented in the regional councils. To facilitate their task and to ensure a wider outreach, the resident representative of the African Institute for Computer Sciences met with a delegation of the Pan-African Council of Traditional Rulers in Marwa for a memorandum of understanding.
It's very important to see how we can train all traditional authority to have that knowledge.
A venture lauded by the president of the Pan-African Association, Octave Kosi Hadegbe of Benin, who promised to capitalize on the fallouts.
In this philanthropic gesture, over 100 internally displaced sons and daughters of Balinyonga, who are now residents in Yaoundé, have received didactic material to ease their studies. The benefactor is an elite of Balinyonga, Edwin Fongo Nuvaga, who reached out to the needy at a cultural gathering in Yaoundé. Baldwin Sama was there and now reports for the 7:30 News.
They received their gifts as internally displaced persons from Balinyonga residents in Yaoundé. These gifts, donated by an illustrious Balinyonga son, Edwin Fongot Nuvaga. School bags, pens, pencils, foodstuff and other equipments were handed to these internally displaced persons to make life comfortable for them in Yaoundé.
I want to thank the person who gave me the bag and the person who bought the bags. Because God, we don't know what is happening at Bali and we don't know what is happening here.
The donor, Edwin Fongot Nuvaga, said his wish is to see many pupils and students go back to school.
You know, if I'm what I am today, it's because I went to school. And when I was going to school as a young kid, in those days, nobody could imagine that today I will become the General of Customs. So why don't I give the same opportunities to other kids? You know, I can tell who amongst them will become what tomorrow.
The ceremony was attended by the paramount ruler of Balinyonga, Senator Dr. Do Ganyonga III, the paramount ruler of the Bafors, Fon Mukete, some government ministers, and many Balinyonga sons and daughters residents in Yaoundé.
Over in the South region, the effective and efficient management of waste has come under review in Crtv at the two-day Congress organized by a waste management service known as Sinitapac. The members worked on the new structure of the Bureau of the Syndicate and schooled its workers on their rights and obligations. Cyril Nwazeke has the details.
Representatives of waste management services have met in Crtv Ocean Division for their annual Congress, a gathering that saw the restructuring and installation of new bureau members of their syndicate, better known as Sinitapac. Discussions on the rights of workers and other duties in the syndicate animated the Congress.
The objective is that we have to renew the bureau and we have also to train our comrades on social dialogue and what we have to do.
The newly installed bureau members of the syndicate promised to work hard to protect the interests of the workers as well as that of the company.
We have some challenges. For example, comrades want to know detailing about their finances because they are the contributors. A young, vibrant team that is being put in place today. We have the convention that has just been signed. I think it's a giant step.
The Congress is equally a platform to encourage workers of the waste management services to continue making Cameroon sanitary and hygienic.
In this advertorial, the United Bank of Africa has opened a WhatsApp application called Leo WhatsApp to facilitate transactions and to render its services expeditious. In order to gain the confidence of subscribers and to acquire new customers, the online application makes the bank accessible 24 hours on 24. Maimoon Anjoya reports from Crtv Center.
Here comes a new service to facilitate banking formalities. Leo WhatsApp has been opened by the United Bank for Africa to ease some transactions and enable customers to save time.
You can stay at your home, send money to someone, you can buy your airtime, you can check your statement and so on.
The global objective is to gain the confidence of potential subscribers and give them the opportunity to experiment a more accessible, viable and swift digital system.
You can stay at your home and open your bank account using Leo. So if you are a new customer, okay, you can now go on Leo using your WhatsApp, Leo WhatsApp, and register and open your bank account. So after that, your bank account is immediately available.
Leo WhatsApp is therefore open to all internet users, and to benefit from it, there are easy steps to follow.
How to subscribe to Leo is easy. You should go on your phone, you register the phone number 667 999919. We register that phone number on your contact. You open your WhatsApp account. You go to the WhatsApp, you search the menu, and you go to that contact you register. You can call it Leo WhatsApp or Leo Cameroon, depending on you, on your chat banking. And on the application, when you see the contact, just say hello to WhatsApp, hello to Leo WhatsApp, and you have your banking digital available for you.
The United Bank for Africa is in this line, coming up with an innovative service that can meet the requests of millions of customers 24 hours on 24 and 7 days on 7.
And that report brings us to the end of the 7:30 news, in which you mainly heard that the alarming rise in the coronavirus infections in the country is preoccupying the state and is prompting worriness. The disturbing spread and actions to halt a probable second wave was unveiled in a media government communication today. And women band together to fight for gender parity and women's rights in a COVID-19 context, as the 36th edition of the International Women's Day was launched in Poma to honor women's achievements. The launch was carried out by the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Promotion of the Family. And there was equally an upswing in missing children, which has been witnessed with unending numbers of posters announcing their unknown whereabouts flooding social media. Tonight, the 7:30 news investigated on the phenomenon that's blamed on delinquency and kidnappings. More news comes up at 8:30 p.m. with Adam Bala. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. God willing. Good night and stay tuned to our programs on CRTV.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Stay vigilant. Do not believe unknown numbers that promise you a win. In case of any doubt, contact the Orange Money Customer Service at 951 or visit an Orange agency. Orange.
Mbamietom, petit village situé à 25 km d'Ebolova, sur l'axe Ebolova-Mbam. En cette matinée de saison sèche, il règne une effervescence inhabituelle, particulièrement au sein de la famille Médou. Le patriarche et l'homme Médou, 77 ans et aveugle, a enfin convoqué les assises familiales pour annoncer la tenue prochaine de la pratique de pêche ancestrale.
Edang un sumo ngane a anda botitemu